Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Windshield Time, the podcast where we help you use your windshield time to turn learning into earning. Windshield Time is brought to you by Service Excellence. I'm Chris Elmore, Uncle Chris. And I'm joined by Cousin Harold, James Walker Jr., also known as J-Dub. No snide remark?
I'm full out.
Okay, you're done. So today we're going to be talking about the last two of the 6 principles of influence. And there are, I don't know why, but you make me that, but authority and scarcity. Stay tuned.
Good. That was good.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So
Uncle Chris.
Uncle Chris, we had Uncle Chris. We were talking
James.
Cousin James. Yeah, you call me Cousin Harold. We could call you Unc for
Cousin
short.
Harold. No, I don't think Unc. I don't.
Unc. That's the new.
Not
that's
into
the new,
the whole
that's
brevity thing.
The new phraseology for the kids. Kids these days call people Unc.
Uncarino. If
Who's
you're not into
Unc
the whole
is this?
brevity thing. What movie is that from?
The brevity thing or the
The
Uncarino?
brevity thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know, Alex?
If you're not
Or
into the whole
Deuterino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
the Big Lebowski?
Yes.
Yes, there you go.
Alex, have you seen that? All right.
Nice.
Mark it an 8, dude. Over the line.
Do I? Do I?
Yes, great movies. We were talking about the funniest movies.
And the
We've
funniest
ever seen.
lines from movies,
The
yeah.
funniest line. So what? Okay, and you've got to do this. You can't qualify it.
Mhm.
Okay, like if someone asks me what your top 5 favorite movies,
Yeah,
it's like RSTLNE on Wheel of Fortune.
sure.
They just give them to you now.
Right.
So you have to Shawshank, The Godfather, Indiana Jones. You got
Gladiator, sure.
you got to throw all that stuff in there. Okay.
Yes.
So your top 3 funniest movies ever. I'm doing 3 because I already know what my top.
I know it's your top 3 are. Well, you and I had one of the same ones, which is Meet the Parents.
Yeah, Meet the Parents.
Okay. Man, it gets so hard after that. I think of for just absurd hilarity for the age that I was.
No.
Not anymore. Listen, the Pink Panthers with Peter Sellers. I used to lose it.
No, I never watched those.
Never watched those?
I've seen them, but
Okay.
I don't like watch them over.
No, yeah. It's you go back and watch them now. Sorry. I don't know, man. Off the top of my head, you said Fun with Dick and Jane.
Fun with Dick and Jane, yeah.
I remember watching that. I just don't remember like it being this centerpiece of my
Hilarious.
hilarity. Yeah. And then what was your third one?
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest is great, man.
That
Yeah,
is
we were
just
talking
so
about that one.
funny.
So I was watching it on the plane on a trip recently, and my wife looked over. She's like, "What are you watching?" It was like when the rock
Did you
monster.
look at her and go, the show must go on.
The show must go on.
Garignac. What is Garignac? Rock. Oh, it's so funny, that movie. Okay, so let's go from there.
See.
Give me some of your favorite one-liners from movies.
Oh, yeah, yes. I'd have to get pretty high. I bet you would, Panama Red. I still say I bet you would, Panama. Tropic Thunder. I'm sorry. That is one of the best all time.
I've seen it, but I don't.
Oh my gosh, you can't admit it. It's so
Talk to
good.
Brandon. Brandon loves some Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. You don't want me to quote anything from that movie.
It could be anything. It could be a drama. It could be a thriller. It could be anything.
No, I mean,
Guy
golly.
his liver with
Oh.
ice Chianti.
No. Obviously, Gladiator. My name is Marcus Decimus Maximus Meridius.
No,
Commander of the Legions of the
No.
North.
you missed it.
My name is Maximus Decimus
You
Meridius.
said Marcus. My name is Maximus
Decimus Meridius.
Commander
of the Armies of the North.
General of the Felix Legion.
Felix Legions.
Husband to a
Husband to a
murdered
murdered
wife,
wife,
father to a murdered son.
He says something about a king.
Oh, he says
Yeah. Servant to a
the one true
emperor.
Marcus Aurelius.
There's the Marcus. That's where that came in. Yep. Father to a murdered
Husband to a murdered
wife, father to a murdered son, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Yes.
Oh, chef's kiss.
You think so?
Oh my gosh.
Not
yes.
the way you did it.
It's also true.
Not the way you
The
did
show must go
it. But
on.
no, that is a great one.
Oh yeah. What's
is
yours? It doesn't have to be the best all-time line, but one of the most memorable.
Well, I mean, if I'm going movie lines, I got to go to Tombstone.
Oh, no, you always say Tombstone. Tombstone's off the table. Don't. Every time it's Tombstone. Give me something else.
Indiana Jones.
Last Crusade.
It's not the age, honey. It's the miles.
It's the miles. That was actually on Raiders of the Lost Ark, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was the least of the three that I thought.
No.
The first one.
The order of the best, the order they go in, 3, 1,
1, 2.
2,
And
4,
then the other
5.
ones don't count. Yeah, I didn't even see 4 and 5. But yeah, 3, 1, 2. So I'm sorry, the Temple of Doom. It's not the age, honey.
Last one. No, it's not the age.
It was the one
honey,
with
it's the
Marion.
mileage.
That was with Marion.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Okay, we're going to lose all these people, but I thought that was a Temple of Doom. No, you're right. You're right. That was with the little kid.
Called him Short Round.
Short Round. Yeah.
The kid who became a stunt coordinator and won an Oscar.
Right.
A couple years
Just
ago for
not too long ago.
Everything All at Once Everywhere, whatever.
Yeah, everything, anything. Yeah, we're botching all these movie lines. But
We're tearing them up.
Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry. I got one right.
There you go. Done.
But no, Tombstone.
Yeah.
and
It's just
you talk about
timeless. Go ahead, skin that smoke wagon.
See what happens.
See what happens. What are you gonna do? Sit there and bleed? Are you just gonna sit there and bleed?
But if you think about
so good.
If you think about actors and roles that can never
Born
be
for.
done by anybody else as good,
Yeah.
Doc Holliday in Tombstone. by
I
Val
think
Kilmer.
Wyatt Earp also with Kurt Russell in that was perfect. I don't think your Kevin Costner holds up against.
But I don't think because Dennis Quaid played Doc Holliday in the Wyatt Earp movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close.
Yeah, agreed.
Because there becomes a point where everybody is just going to imitate that actor,
Sure.
right? And you see people that do remakes and stuff like that, and you hear, "Oh, I purposely didn't watch any of his stuff."
Yeah.
Okay, well then you've had your eyes shut for your
Sure.
entire life, and
Yeah.
your ears, and you've
Right.
never been to a movie.
Well,
But-
I was just funning, Doc. Well, I wasn't.
So yeah, there's
Why,
some-
Johnny, you look like somebody walked over your grave.
What?
What?
You stopped. I don't know. What are you stopping for?
No, that's what he says when he walks up on Johnny, and he's like, "Oh,
Well-
what are you doing, Doc?"
We could do a podcast, and absolutely nobody would listen to it on these kind of things.
It's
but
brave of you to assume that people actually listen at this point.
They do.
Okay.
Lots of listeners and viewers.
Yes.
Because hey,
Hey, speaking of viewers, this 2-shot camera angle is the worst. I look like I'm hiding like a spare tire here just because of the wide-angle lens on this thing. I've like shoved a Michelin under my blue shirt. We're wearing matching blue shirts, by the way.
oh yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
I've often wondered if that was a spare tire. Is it a full size spare or is it just a run flat spare?
No, it's
Okay.
not a run flat. It's
Okay.
full size.
Gotcha. Well, let's get into this
Jerk.
today. Today we're going to continue with the 6 principles. We're going to talk about authority and scarcity.
Authority and scarcity.
Authority and scarcity. So, authority. Authority is, I'll read you the thing. Let's see here.
A-U-T-H.
Authority.
This is compelling stuff.
No, I had a note I wanted to read, but I'm not going to read it. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah.
But authority is, what do we tend to think authority means?
We tend to think authority is kind of along the lines of dictatorship, right? Or
The
like
boss.
executive
They rule over me.
rule, right?
Right.
And what authority is in this context is submitting to someone's expertise and knowledge, credible, knowledgeable expert.
Professional.
Because
expert
professional
authority.
expert
That's
authority,
what we
right?
want to be.
And so interesting story. This is interesting. This was back in the early 2000s.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
Do you remember when we worked together at AirServe and you'd come into my office and say, I've got a great idea? What would I tell you? Just say what I would
I
tell
don't
you.
even know if I ever had a great idea. What would you tell me? Write it and send it to me in an email?
No, probably. But I would say, hold on, James. You have an idea. Once you tell it to me,
And I'll tell you if it's great. That's
So
actually.
you have a story.
Uh-huh.
Tell the story. Pause for 3 or 4 seconds when
Yeah.
you get done so we can decide if Alex is going to cut it out
Gotcha.
because it wasn't
It
a great
wasn't
story.
a great story. I have a story, Chris. Early 2000s, back in Mexico, this was a time when the corruption with the cartel was a little bit more rampant in certain areas and certain things. There was a tactic that the cartel would use to kidnap people in broad daylight, in the middle of public squares and settings with thousands of bystanders walking by, with nobody knowing anything different, that anything untoward was happening. They were able to kidnap people in plain daylight. What do you think that they did?
Lured them with treats.
Yeah, here's some candy. Dressed as police officers. Got into a car, police cruiser, painted it white and black, put a rack on the top, dressed as police officers. What happens? You get pulled over by a cop, you're stopping, right?
Especially if you're in a foreign country.
Yeah. And so fundamentally, if I was a 50-year police veteran driving an old Ford Bronco, authority-wise, I have the ability to pull you over. But if I pull up alongside you and start waving, you're going to think I'm a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
I could be a criminal who's trying to kidnap you and destroy your family. I show up in a police outfit and I just wave at you. You pull over to the side. We actually give people authority based on a perception that dictates our reality.
Appearance.
Appearance.
Appearance is the first thing. I think of a more gentle story.
Oh,
than
okay. The cartel and
cartels
kidnappings.
and kidnappings.
So wait.
Beatings,
Was it a good story or no? Was it a great story?
It illustrated the point.
It illustrated the point. It covered the top.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Your story was adequate.
Satisfactory. C+.
You were a satisfactory story.
It's not just a computer language.
No. But no, think about a doctor and what gives a doctor authority. We were just talking about going to a clinic there in Waco because we both lived near the same place, in the same area, and we both went to the same clinic, and as it turns out, the same doctor.
Yeah.
And great guy, great doctor, saw me for 16 years.
Mm-hmm. Then he said he couldn't do anything with you.
Then he quit medicine altogether after the last visit. No.
Yeah.
So we're talking about that. What happens when you go there? You walk in, you pay your money, you go sit in the waiting room, and everywhere there's a staff. That you see nurses, people walking around in scrubs. There's a pharmacy off to the left when you walk into the door. And then you go into the waiting room to see this particular doctor. And while you're sitting there, there's a TV with PSAs going on about health and this, that, and the other. There's magazines. There's posters on the wall. Then you go to the back and you walk around. You pass a nurse's station. You see scales and other medical equipment there. And then you go into the little room that has the typical medical bed with the paper roll that pulls out, and you see the thing on the wall. So the doctor can look in your ears or in your throat or whatever, blood pressure cuff, the whole deal, sink, the whole deal. Then the doctor comes in. Now, this particular doctor that we saw, I never saw him in a lab coat, ever.
Yeah.
He was a guy in pleated khakis and a button-down
Always
shirt.
khakis tucked in.
But because of where he was,
Right.
And he came in,
right,
and his body language and tone, if I didn't know who he was, never seen him before, I would assume he was the doctor because he also had a stethoscope around his
Sure. And somebody else came up before him and said the doctor will be with you shortly.
Yes, exactly. So it was all set up. And so then occasionally, if they took you to one of the exam rooms on the far end of the hallway, when you walk back, you got a glimpse into his office.
Yeah.
And you saw his desk and the books, and you saw the diploma on the wall,
Yeah.
the certification, the fellow of this, certified by this, board of this. That's where the credibility and the authority came from. And if you had never been there before,
Mm-hmm.
and that was or you had never actually laid eyes on any of the other doctors, right?
Right.
And you're in that room, and a person walked in with a stethoscope around their neck, speaking to you with authority, what would you assume?
It brings to mind. I was thinking, you're sitting there for 45 minutes sometimes waiting. It'd be kind of a fun little project just to walk into the other patients' rooms and be like, grab a stethoscope, throw it around your shoulders and say, hey, Susan, right? How are you doing today? You could probably.
But the thing is, you just assume they're the doctor.
just assume they're the doctor. And you just assume that they're going to say
all the things that lend to their credibility, which lends to authority and all that kind of stuff. And so when we think about in-home sales and service, we bring a little bit with us.
Yeah.
We bring the vehicle that's branded. We'll assume technician, so it's going to be a truck or a van. We come to the home. The truck says the trade we're in, because typically the trade we're in is included in the name of the business.
Right.
Walker's Plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. And typically, if you're in Texas anyway, many other states, there's a license number.
Sure.
Like usually over the front wheel, right? There's also some other things on there that might say we service all makes and models and 24-hour service and fast professional, all this kind of stuff. But it looks like a service truck. It says you do service. And then the person gets out of it and starts walking to the door. And the person that gets out of it, if they're wearing a uniform, it's assumed they're the technician.
Right.
And because it's a license number, it's assumed that some authority, the government, has allowed this person to do this, to represent themselves as a technical person or as a service person or technician. Okay, well, they must have a certain level of competence. Okay? They look the part, they're driving the truck, maybe they're carrying tools, whatever, they're coming to the door. At that point, all the props that lend to your credibility have done their job.
Right.
After you get to the door and the customer opens the door and you open your mouth, you have the credibility you brought with us, but it's not a lot. Or you brought with you, but it's not a lot.
Right.
Because, similar to the doctor, though, that is the environment and the situation. So whoever walks in the room, if you've never seen the doctor you're seeing before, you'll assume it's a doctor.
Right.
Think about the confusion that happens, because you've probably been to a medical professional before, like an emergency room.
Right.
Or, just whatever sort of procedure or whatever. In that setting, you can have a doctor wearing scrubs and a nurse wearing the identical scrubs.
Right.
And the only thing that sets them apart is that someone says the doctor will come see you, or they walk up and say, I'm Dr. So-and-so.
Right.
Right.
Or there's an intern who's happened to come take your, blood pressure, and you don't know if this person's a doctor or a nurse or a...
Are you a doctor?
Right. Are you the doctor is basic.
Exactly. Well, why is that? Because because the identifying marks that person in scrubs walking up your driveway,
right,
they're a medical professional in some way. We don't know what they are yet, but they're a medical professional because their scrubs denote that. Whereas in the hospital setting, that credibility is diminished and accepted because everybody's wearing scrubs.
Right.
But if you got we escalate it. We got a room full of people in scrubs. One person in there's wearing a white lab coat.
Yeah.
Now what happens?
Well, the assumption is that's the person of authority.
The assumption is that's the doctor. The rest are just nurses or technicians or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then we further the analogy here or the example, and we say now there's two people in white lab coats. One of them has a stethoscope around their neck. They must be a better doctor.
Right. One of them's wearing glasses now.
Maybe they're smarter.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean, as one being facetious, but there's truth there. There's an assumption.
Wait.
Yeah.
Who's a better doctor?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I think that what the doctor has the benefit of that the technician doesn't have the benefit of. Most people, even complete morons. Alex. I'm kidding. Alex. So Alex, how long does it take someone to go to school and become a licensed physician? What's your guess? No, just higher education. So pre-med, medical school, residency. 8 years. Okay, I would say it's probably closer to 10 or 11 years to where they can be functioning as a doctor.
Right, of their own practice. You're right. Yeah.
But it's probably 7 or 8 years they're a doctor.
Right.
They're a physician. And so I think most people would guess something like that.
Right.
8 to 10, 12 years. Right?
Sure.
How long does it take to become an electrician?
I mean, it depends if you want to get some places 4 years.
Alex, how long does it take to become an electrician? Don't disregard what James just said. 2 or 3 years. Okay, Alex is guessing. You can tell he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And he's trying not to say 4 because I told him not to. You already said 4, so he's guessing as close to 4 as he can get without saying 4.
Yeah.
And he knows it's not 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Right? But I think most people have an understanding of medical school because you've seen enough dramas.
Sure.
The Pit.
Right.
ER. The paper chase was about attorneys, I think.
Yeah.
But there's all this about the grueling work it is to go to medical school, and then, as a doctor, you're working 80 hours a week in an emergency room or whatever. We've all seen those stories. When was the last time you saw the stories of working in 140-degree attics from an HVAC technician?
Not a lot of play.
Never. So, or a plumber. You never see those kind of things. Most of the stories you see about the credibility of plumbers is that it's a family business. It's fill in the blank and sons.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're a plumber. So they don't consider the lifetime it might have taken, or the fact that it's continuous education with the trades all the time.
Yeah.
So most people don't understand that. So the doctor gets the benefit of the doubt, but it's not really a doubt because they're using these other sources to think they know how long it takes to become a doctor.
Right.
So, if they've gone to school that much, they must be smart. They must be this.
Yeah.
We even go so far as to ascribe the word professional degree to things like being a CPA or being a lawyer, being a doctor, right?
Sure.
We don't ascribe that to tradespeople.
Right.
Even though you can argue in some cases there's more education into being an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC tech because, say, a doctor only has to work on 2 models.
Right.
Of varying ages.
Right.
Where tradespeople work on all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
That is not even done, even the stuff they did in the past that somebody else did wasn't right, that kind of stuff. And so technology is constantly changing.
Yeah.
And while we can argue that medical treatments are constantly getting better and better and better, the vast majority of what doctors do has stayed relatively the same. Yeah. The tools have gotten better, the techniques have gotten better. I can say the same thing for HVAC, but good doctors have to stay up on current things,
latest,
just like HVAC, plumbing, electrical techs do, or any other trades. And so I think the authority part of this. Think of another movie. I've mentioned it on here before, but there's a movie called 6 Days, 7 Nights with Harrison Ford.
Anne Heche.
And Anne Heche, yeah.
Heche, whatever.
It's Heche.
Sorry.
Most people say Heche.
Right, sorry.
Consensus.
Yeah.
So he says, she's like, well, where's this? Where's that? Where's that? He goes, honey, look around you. It's an island. If you didn't bring it, it ain't here.
Right.
And I think about that. As soon as you you walk across the threshold of the customer's house, you're no longer have the benefit of your truck parked out front.
Sure.
You only have the benefit of how you look and what you say.
Right.
At that point. So at that point, if you don't establish your individual credibility to localize it and make it more relevant to the situation you're into that person, it's just like that. If you didn't bring it with you, it's not there.
Right.
Versus a doctor, you sit in the room for 20 minutes.
Right.
And the credibility's there with you.
Sure.
And then the doctor walks into the environment that's already been set up by other people. And you could say, well, okay, the call taker sets it up, the dispatcher sets it up, and all those kind of things. But if the person set it up, let's say, think of it this way. Let's say doctors were dispatched to homes. Okay? And the dispatcher called and said, Mr. Walker, Dr. Chris is on the way, and he's going to check out your hemorrhoids. I got you there.
That's good.
I wouldn't check out your hemorrhoids because I already know they're there. But Dr. Chris is going to be at the house. And he's going to help you with your problem and all that. He's on his way.
You threw me at Dr. Chris, by the way, but keep going.
And so suppose I pull up in a vehicle that says Dr. Chris on the side or whatever.
Yeah.
Medical service, Dr. Chris. I get out, and when I get around the front of the truck, you can tell, let's say I have a little bit of blood on me from somebody else that I worked on already.
Sure.
I walk in, I smell like formaldehyde, and, I'm not wearing what you expected a doctor to wear.
Sure. The first words out of your phrase are drop your pants.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, Mr. Walker, turn around and drop them. Well, then all of that has just the credibility that my office built up, the credibility that my vehicle had built up. When I walk in the door and that's not over my shoulder anymore, and they hear me speak and they've already judged me by my appearance,
Yeah.
my credibility went backwards.
Sure.
And that can happen to you too. But credibility is the authority.
Yeah.
They have to trust that you're an expert.
Mm-hmm.
And let me address the technicians out there that say, well, my work speaks for itself. No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Your work is deaf and mute. It can't speak for you.
Yeah.
And
that's assuming that you get the work.
It's assuming you get the work, because most of the work we do for customers is done out of their sight.
Yeah.
Now, plumbing, obviously the results of electrical, the results of what I do, say at a condensing unit or at a furnace.
Yeah.
The customers, electricity of the trades is the only medium that the customer doesn't interact with directly, if you think about it. We control electricity. The customer never interacts directly with that medium.
Sure.
Whereas we interact
with water.
Interact
with the thermostat.
with hot or cold water or hot or cold air, humid or dry air, etc. Hard or soft water, etc. Clean or nasty water, those kind of things. So most of the work we do is kind of behind the scenes or under the hood, but the customer sees the benefit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of something, obviously, if they can see it, their water heater is leaking and now we fix it, or their toilet is backing up and now they see that it's not backed up,
right,
et cetera, or water's leaking from their air conditioner, it's not anymore. Those kind of things. They can see something we fixed.
Yeah.
So most of the time, they're not going to see your work in the same way. They're not going to understand that you know what you're doing. But fair enough, if they can see something bad and you make it look good, they'll assume you did a good job. If they can interact with hot air, hot water, cold water, clean water, whatever, lights that aren't flickering anymore, they're going to assume you did a good job because you took care of the problem they saw.
Right.
But a lot of times we take care of problems they don't see.
Sure.
And so if we don't establish our credibility before we do work, it's less likely we're going to get work because we all want to trust an authority, right?
Right.
And how do we know someone's an authority?
I mean, not just how they talk and how they present themselves, but the way that they educate us is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. One of the things we've talked about too is the words people use. And I just did one there. I went because I was searching for a word. You've got to get the ums out of your speech. You've got to get the you knows, or you know what I'm saying, or man, or whatever your go-to words are. You got to get that out of your speech because it makes you sound less authoritative and intelligent than you obviously are.
Right.
But all these things go to authority. And just like your example, your very disturbing example.
Was it more disturbing than the medicine cabinet rearrangement?
No, I was just thinking, so now you're a cartel member who kidnaps people, but you've probably gone through their underwear drawer and their medicine cabinet before you decide to kidnap them by posing as a police officer.
Done.
In Mexico.
It's a great movie. I'd watch it.
I think it's been done like 20 times.
I think Man on Fire. Yeah.
So but authority is one of those things that if you, as the person in the home, don't take ownership of making sure the customer understands it, it's not going to be there any more so than your truck, your appearance,
sure,
and what the office said about you can do for you.
Yeah.
And that's quickly mitigated.
Yeah.
Or diluted when you're not in front of the truck and after they've seen you. When you start talking and how you act after that will totally change the perception of your authority. And that's why we teach the credibility part of credibility agenda price, which is settling anxieties, which is the unspoken questions of who is this person? Do they know what they're doing? How long have they been doing this? Can they fix it? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really authority.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Scarcity. So we really have, this is where the most manipulation can happen. And we can take, as we talked about, the tool and do evil with it.
Sure.
I think of all the 6 principles.
Yeah, agreed.
You agree with that?
100%.
So of all the 6 principles.
But that also makes it one of the most potent as well.
It does. Exactly right. Chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can cut down a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could cut you
or what else would you do? In half, yeah.
With it,
Sure.
It's just powerful.
I appreciate that it's not into pieces, just half. It's not
Well-
full psycho.
Well, half is 2 pieces.
Yeah. Not into tiny pieces, though. So scarcity is something that when I work with service professionals, they emotionally push back on
Absolutely.
as a concept.
Because I think a lot of times they don't think it's real,
Yeah.
you know?
So, I mean, obviously there's places where if you want to talk about scarcity, that you have a limited time frame that drives action, right? And then further than that, if you have a limited quantity, hey, we've only got 7 of these, that drives action even more. But what's interesting is if you position that as a narrative that's not based in truth, because scarcity does exist. Let's talk about R410A versus 454B for technicians.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of last year, we were running out of guys who could actually have manufactured 410A systems. And I said, reach out to these customers who you changed out single component 410A components before
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them about finishing out the other component, because otherwise they're going to have to get a whole brand new system, dual components, if something breaks.
Yeah.
And so there's a true scarcity principle.
There is.
But if you don't explain to them what they stand to lose, not just what they stand to gain. So the thought process is people are 8 times more likely to act when they understand what they stand to lose, even when the same facts are presented in a way that shows them what they stand to gain.
Yeah.
So if I asked you, I was like, hey, how important is it to you that we, save some money by going ahead and getting ahead of this and changing it out this year as opposed to next when the prices go up with new refrigerant?
Well,
As opposed to, hey, by not addressing it this year, if you do have to address it next year, we're going to have to deal with new refrigerant and consequently new prices. The consequence of inaction has a lot more potency than the benefit of action.
yeah. And I think there's a cognitive bias that sort of relates to that. Hyperbolic discounting. That's where we choose a short-term gain over a much bigger long-term gain sometimes. And so, but let's talk about where scarcity can go off the rails. And I'm going to tell you, you mentioned refrigerant. There's 2 places specifically that I've dealt with that I want to talk about. The first is refrigerant regulation and efficiency changes. I think a lot of times, a lot of people out there will accept the social narrative before they do the research for the factual narrative. For instance, way back in the olden days, in 1993, when they passed the Clean Air Act, I think it was part of that, whatever it was, you had to get certified. I was reaching for a wallet because I still got my card in my wallet.
EPA?
You had to get certified by the EPA to handle refrigerant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a thing in it called a de minimis release. And, it's not Greek, so you don't know what I'm saying.
It's Latin.
De minimis is
To the minimum.
the minimum.
Yeah.
Like Des Moines is French for Des Moines.
Des Moines.
So de minimis means, and de minimis release was permissible. Well, de minimis release was you pop your gauges off and it goes shh. Psst.
Yeah.
Or, you somehow you're purging, because you have to purge the hose on your gauges. You got to purge there. So you'd purge it till you saw liquid, psh. That's de minimis release.
Yeah.
Well, some people didn't know what that meant, didn't care to be refreshed on what it meant because they probably took an open book, open notes test for their certification. And so what they would do is, well, the system, it's only got like 25% of its charge. We can blow it. You can't do that. You couldn't do that. You still can't. And now some people go, oh, no, it's this. Okay, if you want to tell me about it, how I'm wrong, Elmore at servextra.com. No problem. So there was technicians who did not educate themselves, and they just took what their other buddies said.
Right.
Their other HVAC people said. Then it came to R22 changes. And when they started minimizing like for instance, when they banned R22 production in the United States, the narrative became, well, it's been outlawed.
It's illegal.
It's illegal. I can't charge your system. I can't. No, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
You just can't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you couldn't sell equipment that used R22. You couldn't make or import R22. What was within the borders of the U.S.
Yeah.
other than the black market and smuggling is all there was.
Right.
And so nationally, as it goes down, it becomes more expensive. But they had already shifted
To 410.
to 410.
Mm.
Well, now the beginning of this year, they said you cannot make
Produce 410.
No, you cannot produce equipment that
Right.
uses 410.
Right.
So as far as I know, they can still manufacture
You can make the refrigerant.
import 410. But see, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Some people think because they can't make the equipment anymore, they can't make the refrigerant. And so they're telling people we can't get refrigerant
Sure.
for the system anymore.
Right.
And they're creating a scarcity because they think they're saying the right thing,
Right.
but they haven't taken the time to verify that they're
Yeah.
saying the same thing. So I think sometimes we create scarcity from things because we're uneducated.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so I think that's why
And it could actually be successfully applied.
because
And
customers
then
don't know.
customers don't know, but then it'll come back to bite you because later they'll say he lied to me.
Yes.
And your uneducation actually became a falsehood
It
that
becomes
was
a
now
lie.
assumed to malice.
Yeah. So your apathy or laziness in finding out the true information, or your blind trust of what another technician told you, has led to the indirect outcome of you're a liar.
Right.
And we owe it to ourselves. It behooves.
Oh,
That would be a ding. Behoove, even though it's only a two syllable
syllables.
word, but it behooves you
Hmm.
to find out. I'll tell you another place that I think that scarcity goes, and maybe it's not scarcity as such, but pricing,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
inflation,
Sure.
the unprecedented. Well, I guess it's precedented, but not for the same reasons. But the high inflation we had because of supply chain interruptions due to
COVID. Sure.
really affected the trades
A lot.
a lot. And so what in 2019 cost one price, in 2025 costs 50 to 75% more
For sure.
on mainline things.
Yep.
There's certain things that haven't gone up much.
Yeah.
But the pattern of increase in price,
Mm-hmm.
because it's gone on so long, we assume it's going to continue.
Right.
Falsely.
Mm.
It could continue. But the inflation due to COVID, the inflation due to supply chain issues, that has trended downward for a long time to where inflation is now under control.
Sure.
Okay. Now, of course, tariffs introduced a new uncertainty to that.
Mhm.
So we're still facing something. But COVID and tariffs, those two things back to back, I don't think we've had a thing like that in our economy in a while.
Yeah.
And when I say economy, I'm talking about the economics of the trades,
Right.
supplies, materials, equipment, parts, those kind of things. And so I think what's happened is we're using the threat of inflation to create a scarcity that doesn't exist because we're not educated.
Yeah.
But uncertainty creates that. So do everything you can to understand how inflation is affecting the prices of things right now. Because again, if you are telling a customer waiting 2 years, it's going to cost them $3,000 more,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't, and they acted on that, then what happens? You've become
Unreliable.
A liar.
At best and a liar at worst.
and your credibility is then impugned to the point where it's not recoverable.
Impugned, man.
Yeah, ding.
So I think that
There's one other place too. Let me hear what you have to say.
but I don't disagree with that. And I think that's where you can invite the customer into the uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm not saying that 3 months from now we're going to be paying an extra $7,000. What I am saying is if you want security in knowing what you get today at this investment, we don't know what it could look like.
Mhm.
Most likely it's not getting less.
Yeah.
But it's up to you, right? And so that's the presentation of understanding, even with regards to price, of where if you're presenting that you're able to do multiple things here today and save money by taking care of them, rather than just saying, hey,
But that's a real thing.
well, that's a real thing, right?
Because especially if you have one price for doing it today and a higher price if we got to come
Sure.
back, that you've created a
It's
scarcity
legitimate.
there. That's a thing
scarcity.
that's going away.
Yeah.
The low price is going away as soon as I walk out the door.
And
That's
there's
a
a reason
scarcity
behind it because it's going to cost me
And
to
it's
come back
true.
out here. It's real, right? But even as you present it, if you say, hey, if you want to go ahead and toss on, that extra water purifier, we could save you $200 today, as opposed to saying something to the effect of, hey, since I'm here, we're able to take $200 off of the investment, which if we have to come back, we would not be able to do. So the consequence of inaction weighs more heavily than the benefit of action in how you present the exact same data point.
Yeah, and I think
what was the other thing you were going to say?
think you can manipulate that just like you can manipulate anything. And I'm speaking about future repairs on things.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if it's necessarily, I guess it is kind of creating a scarcity here, but a lot of times I hear technicians talking about keeping what you have and creating the situation that you are going to deal with multi-thousands of dollars worth of repairs if you don't act now.
Mm.
So HVAC system, for instance, 12-year-old system, and they need $2,000, $2,500 worth of repairs, and you try to create this situation where acting now is going to disappear. They're going to lose money if they don't act now. That's the scarcity. Well, and you say things like, well, yeah, but your compressor go out, that's $2,000. Your this could go out, that's $1,000. This could go out. So you're looking at a potential $5,000 or $6,000 if you don't replace it, which is not true. Think about it.
Fundamentally, because they're going to replace it before they pay all that money, is what you're saying?
Yeah, most people will.
Right.
So is it true all those things could fail? Sure. It's possible. Is it probable? No. I mean, there's always
it does depend on the scenario, obviously.
It does
right?
depend on the scenario. But what I'm saying is to go with possible instead of probable can create a situation that has a higher chance of creating a falsehood.
Sure.
Because it's possible a 12-year-old compressor could go out.
Yeah.
But is it probable that if it does go out, there's a probability of it going out. I don't know how to calculate it.
Sure.
But the possibility is greater than the probability in that case.
Right.
Okay? So the probability is lower than the possibility, of course. Now, if I'm drawing high amps and it's going out overload every other day, then the
probability.
The probability and possibility are really close.
Yeah.
But the probability of going out is not as high as I'm making it.
Right.
And it's causing the customer to act based on possibility, not probability. And I'm maybe I'm going off on a rabbit trail, but I think the professional expert, the authority, is the one who bridges the gap between possible and probable.
Well, that's where I go back to the doctor scenario of very maybe similar situations, but a doctor based on his expertise is like, yes, but given you have the same readings, the same other data points as this other guy, but based on your age, based on your physical health, based on your BMI, you are much more prone to this going to be an issue as opposed. But that's where an experiential doctor who understands the actual context and the scenarios going into it is able to say,
expert.
Hey, as the expert's coming in.
That's why you go to a specialist.
Right. And so that's where I think that, yes, if you just carte blanche walk into a system and say, hey, listen, it's $2,000. Compressor's going to fail within the next 5 years. You're going to have this. I think fundamentally you just explain the conditions in such a way that allows them to assess whether getting ahead of those things benefits them today as opposed to dealing with the consequences of when they fail.
I think, too, and that's good point, and I think it suggests that the customer needs to create the scarcity. You need to provide them with the education, and you need to tell them about true scarcity, but then they have to feel that scarcity in their own terms. And, for instance, two things, consistency and scarcity happen when you ask a customer the age of the thing. Well, do you know how old your water heater is? Oh, geez. I mean, we've lived here 11 years and we've never had a problem with it. It's been here since we lived here. Okay, so it's probably more than 11 years old. Yeah, I guess. Well, it's good to know. Around here, we typically get 6 to 10 years out of a water heater, as long as it's had annual maintenance, based on the water quality and conditions in the home. I educated them.
Right.
I didn't guide them to anything.
Yeah.
I didn't say, Yours is past its life. I educated them.
But it puts it on their radar.
But it puts it on the radar. And in their mind, and they may even say out loud, oh, I guess mine's older than that, huh? Okay. They're creating something there. It's theirs.
Sure.
They own it. And it goes back to all the cognitive biases we've talked about before. And so I think a scarcity created by the customer using facts from you is better than a scarcity created by you using facts. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Because if I create the scarcity based on only my information, and the scarcity, I guess we're saying, is missing out on the benefits of not acting now. That's
or dealing with the consequences.
Dealing with the consequences, right? We want to eliminate that.
Now.
And so the repair versus replace conversation with HVAC is always putting you in this territory because, you know, we can elaborate, we can add a lot of variables into it. We can have a form that prescribes all the numbers and everything like that, but that's my form and I'm the person inputting the data on my iPad if I'm using it. Instead, I want the customer to write down the numbers. I want the customer to do the math, and I'm going to ask questions to pull the numbers from the customer that they believe. And I'm going to guide.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dictate or mandate or say this is what the industry says because I'm an industry insider. They're not. They're going to believe the information
they come up with.
They're going to believe their calculations. They're going to believe what they wrote down. They're going to believe the numbers they came up with before they believe me. And I think that's where scarcity gets off the rails for some people is when we're told to always tell a customer that this could go away at any time.
Yeah.
You know, this is what it is today, but I don't know if it'll be this next time. You know, or, you know, we're always getting price increases from our suppliers, so who knows if it'll cost this much more. Now, is that true? Are you really always getting price increases?
Yeah.
Always would imply a frequency that probably doesn't exist.
Right.
And certainly that's what you were implying if you say something like that. Because the reality of it is everything goes up in price.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So I think when it comes to scarcity, using discounts, using sales that aren't true or creating conditions that aren't true because you don't know the facts.
Yeah.
That all puts you in perilous ground.
Yeah, for sure.
Of being discredited.
Misunderstood at best.
Misunderstood, yes.
Maligned at worst, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Ding, ding. Two big words. So you just got to be careful with how you create the scarcity, and you have to know your stuff. You have to be up on the trends, up on what's going on. You need to find out about new efficiency regulation, new refrigerant regulation. If you're a electrician, you need to know the NEC code inside and out. You need to know the things that affect the residential electrical. You need to know which code is being enforced in your jurisdiction. It comes out every 3 years. You might be in a backwoods jurisdiction that's still in the 2017, and we should be on the 2023 in most jurisdictions now, maybe 2020. But you need to figure that out. You need to know those things. You know, what is actually code in any trade in your area? Are you using a code to create scarcity and it's not a real thing? Because we're in the same position now as the auto industry got into right when the internet first came out, which is visibility into car prices and all this kind of stuff. Customers have way more visibility into what you do, how it's done, what materials you use, and how much they cost than they ever have before.
Yep.
And so you have to be truthful. You have to be the expert on these things. And an expert is one, the customer says, well, on the internet, I saw it here. Yes, I've seen that too. Here's what I know, and here's the sources that I know it from that I have access to because I'm an expert.
Right.
An expert doesn't go, well, when the customer says, I saw that online. Oh, well, that's not true. My experience says it's not. No, an expert has credibility backing them up, right? So your authority, and again, how we tie it together, authority can create scarcity because you're saying things the customer believes that aren't true because maybe you don't know.
Yeah.
Or you're using your authority to create scarcity intentionally.
Yeah.
To create that. And in neither case is it right. Whether it's unconscious or consciously done, using your expertise to create scarcity incorrectly is just, that's where you get the chainsaw
Sure.
Out. And the chainsaw is a powerful tool and you use it the wrong way. use it the good way by presenting third-party information, by doing your research and knowing your stuff. So when you say things, there's no doubt that they're true, and your customer's going to find the same thing if they look it up. So that's the 6 principles of influence.
Man,
this is a good series.
It's a good series.
So if you want to know more about it, you can always reach me, 254-733-7109 or Elmore at serveextra.com. And if you want to talk to James Walker,
254-230-5266 or James at serveextra.com.
And go to the website, www.serveextra.com. Check out our workshops that are coming up in September. You can sign up there, or you can contact one of us and we'll get you signed up, or your coach if you're already working with us. We'll get you in those workshops. Also, check out previous episodes of this podcast. There's probably 200 or more, all different topics. You can search. You can find one that's on probably multiple episodes on any one topic, maybe from different perspectives. Also, lots of free stuff on the website for you. You can download cool resources. Like and share the podcast. Always drop us a line. I said it again, drop us a line.
There you go.
Don't page us because we don't have those. But drop us a line. Let us know what topics or things you would like to hear about on the podcast. And as always, we end it with Harold James Walker Jr. What do we do here at Service Excellence?
At Service Excellence, we turn learning into earning.
Very good.
That is the best one.
That's probably the best one. Thanks, everybody. Bye.